Hey guys, it's now week 19 here, so this is going to be my review for the Siege of Lothal. And just to clarify things, this is not the first episode of Season 2. I don't know what to call it exactly. I mean, they were teasing it as like a 1 hour special event, so let's just leave it at that. So with all of my reviews, I'm going to give you a recap, give you my thoughts, and instead of doing top 5 moments, I'm going to do top 10. So starting with the recap, on orders to hunt down the rebels, and especially the Jedi among them, Darth Vader begins an oppressive campaign against Lothal's populace in order to find the group. The Ghost crew starts working with the wider rebel cells, but are divided between joining the larger network and waging open war on the Empire or staying out of a large-scale fight. The situation is even more complicated when Minister Maketh Tua, fearing punishment for failing to neutralize the Lothal rebels, tries to defect to them in order to escape Vader, offering to reveal the truth behind why the Emperor wants the planet. However, Vader uses this to his advantage and orchestrates Tua's murder, framing the rebels for the act and turning Lothal's population against them. The Ghost crew tries to flee but are cornered by Vader, who injures Kanan and Sabine and nearly kills Ezra before they finally escape. After being smuggled off-world by Lando to escape the Empire, but Vader pursues them and proceeds to wipe out most of the rebel ships, discovering Ahsoka in the process, where Ahsoka is horrified to learn that Vader is actually her old master, Anakin Skywalker. Ahsoka joins the Ghost crew as they vow to join the wider fight against the Empire. Darth Vader later reports Ahsoka's existence to Emperor Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine issues Darth Vader new orders to dispatch another one of the Inquisitors to hunt down the crew of the Ghost and capture them. So, my overall rating is going to be a 10. This was just so amazing. The story and all of this was just so great. Really, the biggest star of this whole entire event was Darth Vader. He really brought in so many plot twists. You'd think he lost one round but intended for the rebels to make a certain move so that he can make his next move. It was just really great how they visualized Darth Vader on the show, same way as he is in the movies. This entire special event was so great just because of him. He made it so much better. The event wasn't so predictable and it made it 10 times better. I was a little concerned about Vader coming on the show. I originally thought that he would be the big bad of Season 2, and that could have denounced his character a bit just because he would have to lose in a big way by the end of the season, but that's not the case. The Emperor ordered Vader to dispatch another Inquisitor to hunt down the rebels. So I think he'll still be around, but he'll primarily serve as a background villain. He's the one pulling all the strings in the series. Just think of the Emperor. He's a pure background character. He doesn't get involved in much conflict, he just sets things in motion. Vader this season is mostly going to be pulling the strings and will probably show up in the middle of conflict, but not in every episode. So I truly do like what the producers are doing right now with the villain arc. Hopefully they don't ruin anything this season. I wouldn't necessarily say that they ruined things last season. It's just that the arc for the villains wasn't that great. The way they lost in every episode really made them look weak. This season seems like things are going to be different. This is also the season where you get to see a lot of growth between the characters. It's not one of those animated shows that don't display character growth. You can really see how the characters have grown from last season to now. They're a lot more confident now, more than ever, just because they have a team behind them. Their confidence sort of gets stripped. Season 1, the rebels had a lot of victories. Season 2, I'm expecting a little less victories, or at least victories that don't leave the rebels so hopeful for the next mission. A lot of the victories will be going to the Empire. This is the Empire season. It's time for them to rise and shine a bit. Villains that are given victories make them just more appealing because the final fight between the heroes and villains is a lot more epic. His story is pretty much going to be struggling with fighting side by side with an army. He's dealt with that in the past, fighting with the clones in the Clone Wars. He's dealt with the aftermath of it all. He said that he doesn't want to go through it again because he saw what it did to everyone. So he's kind of getting this family arc, sort of. He doesn't want his new family dealing with the aftermath war can bring. Just think of Kanan as a low-key PTSD patient. Ezra has an arc this season of being overconfident in himself and in the mission. He said he's not afraid, and Kanan was like, yeah, that's what worries me. It'd be interesting if Ezra fell to the dark side. You have a really headstrong character who's not afraid to fight, or not afraid to lose either. That entire trait is what could easily push him to the dark side. The only problem that I have with that, or rather what could interfere with that happening, is the fact that this is a kids show. They're not going to have the main character of the show become a bad guy. That's just really dark. There's dark and then there's really dark. The kind of dark that reflects back into reality and makes everything so depressing. You can't even enjoy the show now because it's so depressing and hardcore. Kanan told Ezra in the end that they must find the strength to fight and the courage when not to fight. I feel like this is going to be the overall theme for the characters in this season. If Ezra were to fall to the dark side, then this line is probably what's going to bring him back to the light side. Overall, Season 2 is looking great right now. It's going somewhere really good. Hopefully the rest of the season won't be bad, or rather, I wouldn't say bad, just disappointing, because the season starts off with this really good event, and then the rest of the season just gets really, really less than good. So, now to the top 10 moments, starting with number 10, the Rebels celebrate their victory. This moment really defines the kind of victories we'll be seeing this season in Rebels. Their victory wasn't a total success, like they barely made it out alive. So what I'm expecting this season is that we'll see victories like they barely make it out alive of any kind of situation and they're not so optimistic about their next mission. Number 9, the Rebels and Phoenix Squadron versus the Empire. So, just to clarify any confusion, the Rebel cell we see in this episode is not going to be the Rebel Alliance that we see in the classic Star Wars films. This is just a band of people fighting against the Empire, so they're not the Rebel Alliance, they're just their own rebellion. Number 8, the Rebels attempt to smuggle Minister Makath off Lothal. Really loved how Kanan dressed up as a stormtrooper. They revealed this scene in the trailer back during Celebration. I just knew that this would be a fun episode wherever this moment would occur. I like how the plans are starting to get more elaborate and complex. The Rebels' plans, Vader's plans, just everything was very detailed. Minister Tua was talking about how she knew why the Empire was really on Lothal. She didn't get to reveal what, and I feel like whatever it is just going to continue to be teased, but we'll probably won't get to it. And just to spell it out, I think what she was talking about was the Death Star. Now, back in Season 1, Kanan and Hera went to stop a shipment of Kyber crystals. Kyber crystals are what powers the Death Star, so they've already teased the Death Star once. Minister Tua talking about what the Empire really wants from Lothal is most definitely another teaser to that. Number 7, Ezra tries Jedi mind-tricking stormtroopers. I just love how he completely failed at doing this. Jedi mind tricks is like the most complex and advanced Jedi skill, so I don't expect Ezra to do it right away. They have shown that he's progressing really quickly in his Jedi training, but I don't think like he's some sort of Jedi genius like Beethoven or Einstein of Jedi. Even Ahsoka didn't get Jedi mind tricks right away, but it wasn't as such a fail as Ezra's attempt. Number 6, Lothal has turned against the Rebels. This is just Vader pulling the ultimate card, using the city the Rebels love and fight for against them. Sort of reminds you of how Ra's al Ghul used Starling City against Oliver back in episode 18 this year. Really love how tight everything became for the Rebels at this moment. They were on the run, but the stakes were higher now, and I feel like the stakes should be as high, if not even higher, for the Rebels each time that they go out on a mission this season. Number 5, Minister Tua dies and the Rebels are framed for her death. Like from this moment on until the very end of the episode was his grand master plan to break the Rebels by A. Turning the city against them by framing them for the death of Minister Tua. B. Luring them into a trap while they're trying to flee, and C. Allowing them to leave so that he can follow them back to their base of operations and wipe them out. He may have not completely wiped them out, but he did succeed to a degree. He broke them, as he said, and he broke them in a way that they can't return back to Lothal. They have to journey on out into the galaxy far, far away. And also, I just want to point out how gruesome the show was starting to get. Before, it seemed like the show was light on violence. Like, the Rebels would shoot stormtroopers. They weren't exactly dead. They just seemed like they were really hurt from the blast and the shock of the blast. Now the show isn't afraid to kill somebody, although they do try to censor it just a little bit. Like, nobody's getting stabbed through the chest on screen, which is something that the Clone Wars TV series would do in almost every episode. The most gruesome and violent death on this show was when the Inquisitor beheaded the 2 Imperial officers during Tarkin's interrogation. It wasn't direct, but you can just tell that, yeah, the Inquisitor just beheaded those 2, judging by how high his lightsaber was, and then Callus and Tua's reactions pretty much give you reassurance that, yeah, they just got beheaded. Number 4, Kanan versus Darth Vader. This fight pretty much goes to show that nobody can defeat Vader. It seemed like Vader wasn't even putting any effort into this duel. Like, he could have easily killed Kanan and Ezra in 30 seconds or less. Just think of this fight as a warm-up for Vader's workout of the day. Number 3, Vader and the Emperor plan to find other Jedi through Ahsoka. This is sort of like a gateway to other Jedi showing up on the show. Maybe Obi-Wan, maybe other Jedi that survived Order 66, or maybe some Jedi that the production team decided to make up from scratch that survived Order 66. That's probably like the next step now, to showcase other Jedi that survived during Order 66, just to keep the show fresh and interesting a bit. Number 2, Darth Vader versus Phoenix Squadron. Not only is Vader a badass when it comes to lightsaber duels, but he's also a badass when it comes to piloting. Just remember, Anakin Skywalker was considered the best pilot in the galaxy, so this is just a reminder of that aspect Anakin had as a Jedi, so of course he's going to carry that on when he's Darth Vader. And my number one moment, Ahsoka learns that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. I have to say that her reaction was very genuine. She just passes out at the fact that her old master is a Sith Lord now. This is probably going to change her character a lot. Like before, she was all spunky and ready to fight. You can even see that in the end shot of this event. But now that she knows that Anakin is a Sith Lord, that just gives us all the more reason to look forward to seeing Ahsoka more this season, and to see Ahsoka fight her old master as well. So that's it for this video, but what do you guys think? Did you like this event? Please tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to catch more Rebels reviews. I'll be doing some bonus videos, and I'll be doing Season 2 reviews as well when it premieres in the fall. Subscribe to my other channel, Jedi Knight for 50, and follow me on my social platforms to stay updated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.